dating back to this past week with our Seahawks, at least, because they played on Monday night, and then this past Sunday they were off because they had a bye week. So we'll get into the Monday Night Football game that we previewed last week, October 2nd, at the New York Football Giants at MetLife Stadium. A 24-3 victory. Seattle moves to 6-0 in the Pete Carroll era when they're playing at MetLife against the Giants. Big game. I mean, the first half wasn't like there weren't fireworks per se in the first half. The Seahawks offense was still trying to figure some things out, but in the second half, Seattle was really able to tee off defensively and get what they wanted on the offensive side of the ball as well. No big eye-popping numbers on the offensive side of the ball, so that's kind of why I went with running back Kenneth Walker the third once again. Ken has just been able to really grind out these yards. He looked good. He would have had a really long touchdown had it not been for his right butt cheek hitting the turf. It was a big kind of odd play where it's like, was he really down? Was he not down? The officials did the right thing. They let the play run out. Upon further review, as all scoring plays are reviewed, it was noted that his right butt cheek hit the ground, thus ruling him down as he was being tackled. Just still, I mean, 17 carries for 79 yards and a touchdown. Not bad. Not a bad night, not a like stellar night, but still he's been a consistent force for Seattle. And the Seahawks have been able to mix in Walker and a little bit of Zach Charbonnet as well. And it's a nice change of pace, but they're still both physical and can run the ball well. So I imagine that's what they were looking for when they got Charbonnet in the draft. And he kind of brings you more than that. I mean, DJ Dallas has provided solid spurts for this team. We've looked at him in previous years, but Charbonnet's physicality, I'm sure, is what Seattle really likes with him, and he pairs well with Kenneth Walker III, who can bring that physicality and can bring that agile speed as well. On the defensive side of the ball, Devon Witherspoon has really burst onto the scene, and he really burst onto the scene with this game here. 7 tackles, 6 of them solo, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, 3 quarterback hits, and he had a 97-yard interception return for a touchdown. I believe that's the second longest touchdown in Seahawks history, I believe. I could be wrong. Or a defensive touchdown. I could be wrong. Really, really big there. A big week for Witherspoon. And we've I think we've talked about this in weeks before, where, I myself was somebody who wanted to see Jalen Carter in a Seahawks jersey. I said, hey, the Seahawks are a team that tend to take chances on people and get them a second chance, and get them right. Obviously, with the struggles that the team had defending the run and just kind of in the pass rush as well, it would have made sense. But the Seahawks and the front office brass, Pete Carroll, John Schneider, decided to go with Witherspoon. And you're seeing why. You're seeing the ability to come and contribute in the running game and come down and make tackles downhill. The ability to cover well, obviously. He looks excellent. He looks like a top 5 pick. And I think that any comparisons that people were making early on, especially when Witherspoon wasn't healthy yet and when he missed week 1 and in the preseason, those were just foolish things to do. Those were just, I'm mad I didn't get the pick that I wanted, and I'm going to hate this guy because I didn't get that pick. It was a stupid thing to do. There are certain accounts on here, it was the on tap guys, just silly, just foolish to not trust what's going on here. And Devon Witherspoon can really be a special defensive player in this league. I know the Seahawks, just before we went on the air, were putting out a campaign to start the Devon Witherspoon for Defensive Player of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year campaign. Still early, but he's really made his mark with the Seahawks defense since he's been able to get in the lineup. So before we go further into the game, we'll look at inactives here. Seattle was missing numerous defensive backs coming into this game. Cornerback / safety Kobe Bryant, cornerback Trey Brown, and cornerback Artie Burns were all inactives. Fullback / linebacker Nick Bellore was inactive as he was actually back in Seattle, witnessing the birth of his child. So congratulations. Offensive tackles McClendon Curtis and Charles Cross inactive, as well as offensive guard Ben Brown was inactive. This was a tough game. I talked about how, in the first half, they kind of needed to get things going. The second half, better. But in terms of physicality and the bye week, which they just had, Seattle lost Jamal Adams 9 plays into the game. with a concussion. Pete Carroll, after the game, said he should be good to go this week against Cincinnati, considering that they had the bye weeks. We haven't heard an official update on that quite yet. It's Monday, so we'll probably get those sort of things throughout the course of the week. Offensive guard Phil Haynes left the game with a calf injury. Offensive guard Damian Lewis left the game with an ankle injury. So you've already lost Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas, your two bookend tackles. Then your two offensive guards go out. So Seattle was basically playing with their bench players on the offensive line, and they were able to hold up remarkably. The Giants were losing parts of their offensive line, and Seattle recorded a franchise record 11 sacks against them in this game. So all credit to offensive line coach Dickerson and the backups for staying ready and being able to come in and fill in this situation. Quarterback Geno Smith did leave the game with a knee injury for a point in time. He did come back. Drew Lock helped lead a touchdown drive in the time that he was in the game, and nose tackle Jerron Reed left the game with a shin injury. So you see, that's 5 injuries there on top of the amount of injuries that Seahawks had coming into this game. So normally the early bye week, not ideal. You'd like that bye week later into the season when you're trying to make the playoff push. You want those guys to get that week of rest, week to get them healthy, and then forward into the playoff push. Seattle's not going to complain about their bye week being where it is right now, considering how banged up they have been so early into the season. So hopefully that was able to help there. Keeping up with the Devon Witherspoon news, on the 4th of October, 2 days after the win over the Giants, cornerback Devon Witherspoon earned NFC Defensive Player of the Week honors. It made back-to-back Seahawks players earning Player of the Week honors. I think they totally deserved. Again, I grew up a big secondary guy. I grew up playing corner because I was too damn skinny to play anything else. Sure as hell wasn't going to be a linebacker, and I sure as hell wasn't going to be a pass rusher in any way, shape, or form. And I wasn't good. Before we keep going and hopefully CSS grows to where I hope it grows. I was not good when I played football. I was not. So no need to go and show me my huddle or anything like that. Probably because it doesn't exist. So I was always a defensive back guy growing up. So I was kind of okay with the Witherspoon pick. I was like, what are we doing here at first? But I trust these things because Pete Carroll, I mean, we've seen what he's been able to do with different defensive backs throughout the course of his coaching tenure here with Seattle. It's Brandon Browner had size, but it was not like he was the best technical corner, and he was able to fill in and play a huge role with the Legion of Boom. Byron Maxwell, as soon as he left Seattle, kind of turned to toast. A guy that I really wanted to be great was Trey Flowers. Here with Seattle, they converted him from safety to corner. Didn't necessarily work out, but he still played a decent amount of games here with the Seahawks. So I know I list not the best examples, but Seattle has some great defensive backs that they've been able to bring up from the draft, whether it's Reek Woolen, obviously Richard Sherman. So, I kind of wanted to just trust this front office, this coaching staff, and see what they were going to do with Witherspoon. And at least the early returns, it's looking good. So we'll let that go as it is. It's going to be an interesting game this upcoming week against the Bengals in Cincinnati. Since he started out 1-3, they got the win this past week against the Cardinals, kind of had to hold them off and pull away later into that fourth quarter. They look better. Jamar Chase had a great game. Joe Burrow looked better after dealing with a calf injury. So this is kind of a big game for them to see if they're going to keep moving. This is a big game for Seattle to kind of keep the 3-game winning streak going, knock on the woods. So we'll see how that goes. Seattle's next game, as I mentioned, they sit at a 3-1 record on the current season. They are, they're second in the NFC West behind the, sorry, I got a submission to CSS while I'm sitting here recording. 3-1 record. They sit second in the NFC West behind the San Francisco 49ers, who are 5-0 at the current moment, and they do look pretty damn good. Next game, October 15th at the Cincinnati Bengals. That is a 10 a.m. start, 10 a.m. on CBS. It's a big game. We should get injury reports throughout the week, so make sure to follow us on the social medias to be able to check out that when we get that in real time, and we can pass that sort of information along to you. So I'll let you pause it if you need to. But this is a perfect opportunity for us now to switch gears and look over. It's weird. We don't have any Seahawks. I mean, we don't have any Mariners. We don't have any Storm news. We go right over